Game 2, and tonight he'll try to do it again for the Yankees. The one thing, however, and you touched on it, Joe, the one thing that the Marlins, if they lose this series, they won't be awed doing it, and they showed that last night.
An impressive performance here in Game 1 right here in the Bronx. Well, after Paul O'Neill just threw out the ceremonial first pitch, we get ready for the real deal, the real first pitch. It's Game 2 of this 2003 World Series coming your way next. Well, people, it's 48 degrees in New York tonight, 80 in Miami, which is where this series is headed after this Game 2. Andy Pettitte on the mound, and we give you the starting lineup for the Florida Marlins, brought to you by State Farm. Juan Pierre leads it off. Then it's Luis Castillo batting second. Same look as last night. Rodriguez hitting third. Miguel Cabrera has solidified his spot in the cleanup role. Derek Lee, Mike Lowell, Jeff Conine, the DH, Juan Encarnacion, and Alex Gonzalez is the shortstop batting ninth. And here is Andy Pettitte.
Yankees once again turn to Andy Pettitte to try to win Game 2 after losing Game 1. And what Andy hopes to do is to keep the speed off the bases, and if they do get on, provide a tourniquet for the running game. Ground balls galore, that's to the left side because of that cut fastball, the cutter in on the hands of the right-handers. Both shortstop Derek Jeter and third baseman Aaron Boone should get a lot of play if Pettitte is on, and the left-handed batters that have hit well against him this year, the Marlins only have one. That's Juan Pierre in the lineup tonight.
Well, the timing's working out beautifully here tonight. We can even show you the defense before the first pitch of the night. Derek Jeter we highlight at shortstop. Turned to double play last night. 15 double plays this postseason. Matsui Williams and Juan Rivera is the right fielder tonight. And when we give you the lineup, when the Yankees come to bat, you will notice a very different batting order for Joe Torre. But as you look at Soriano, people in New York calling for Soriano to be moved out of that leadoff spot. He is in the leadoff spot tonight. But right now for the Marlins, it's their leadoff man, Juan Pierre, who last night was just about all the offense against David Wells. He went 2 for 3, scored a run, the first run of the night, and drove home the difference-making runs in the middle inning. And there's the defense on the infield for Pierre to guard against that speed. Ball one inside. These two pitchers tonight, Andy Pettitte and Mark Redmond, will be working on short rest. Only 3 days rest for Andy Pettitte. He worked on Wednesday night, Game 6, went 5 innings, left with a 1-run lead over the Red Sox. That's inside. It's 2-0. Pettitte has pitched 14 times in his career on 3 days rest. You see what he does following a Yankee loss, including winning the last 10. Last night a 3-2 win for Florida. Strike one. Last time Pettitte worked on 3 days rest was in July of 2001. So it's been a while. 2-2 on Pierre.
Andy throwing only 92 pitches against the Boston Red Sox on Wednesday.
Pierre stays up there. He was the toughest to strike out across Major League Baseball during the regular season. You can make that kind of contact regularly, and you have the kind of speed of Juan Pierre. Easy to see why he ended up with over 200 hits.
Think about it. Juan Pierre only swung through 67 strikes this year. That's about one every other game.
Almost caught him on that right arm, able to get it out of the way, and the count 3 balls, 2 strikes. Already a difference with this crowd, as they certainly sense the urgency involved with Game 2, with the Yankees dropping Game 1 last night. That and they're cold. They're just trying to move around to get warm. Still 3-2. Well, we even talked about it during last night's game. That Pettit, with that great pickoff move, the best in baseball clearly, would be tested here in Game 2 with his running game that the Marlins present. Another 3-2 pitch, and Pierre checks on Soriano. 1 out. I'm told 48, and graphically it pops up. Humidity 93%. There was some rain earlier in the day, then the sun popped out in the afternoon. The wind 5 to 10 miles per hour, and it's not supposed to rain the rest of the evening.
Pretty good indication right there of how chilly it is at Yankee Stadium tonight.
That hat?
Yeah.
That was dug out of the back of the closet.
Bottom of the trunk.
With 1 out, here's Castillo. Luis had a hit last night, 5 at bats. Up there to take, and he takes ball 1. Andy Pettit, when he's worked on 3 days rest in the postseason, it's happened 4 starts. He has a record of 2-1 and an ERA of 3.71. He misses low. It's 2-0. Von Rodriguez couldn't wait to tell us how cold it was out there on the field when we saw him before the game tonight. The 2-0. 2-1.
Castillo, a guy who will push the ball to the right side. Soriano, the second baseman, is way back. You really have to shorten up on these two, the 1 and 2 hitters of the Marlins. Reason you'd want to take, if you're going to bunt, the bunt to the right side is that Andy Pettit falls toward the third baseline. A big slot towards second base.
Castillo takes ball 3. So 3 balls and a strike with Ivan Rodriguez waiting on deck here in the first inning. Juan Pierre grounded out. Castillo's taken. It's a full count. They do a lot of that, and they did a lot of that in the series against the Cubs. They made those Cubs starters work to get outs. A lot of pitches per at bat. And these Marlins are very good at this. Just spoiling a pitch, getting a piece, and making the hurler throw another.
Very frustrating. Those are the types of pitches that you want a hitter to put in play.
Pettit's 3-2 to the left side in the hole. Jeter gonna try it. Just playing defense like a backstop was Nick Johnson off the bag. It's a base hit. 1 on, 1 out. Johnson was only hoping to keep it in the field of play.
Derek Jeter has to go to his right to field a ground ball. He is not going to throw out Juan Pierre or Luis Castillo. Too much speed. So Castillo with the first base runner of the night, first base hit for the Marlins.
You know what's interesting, though, is to watch a guy like Jeter, and maybe with where the ball was when he picked it up on the hop, he couldn't do it, but we talked about it in the ALCS. Typically, he kind of jumps and throws across his body, and with the speed of Castillo, he fired quickly, actually made a solid, strong throw, but it was a little wide. 1 on, 1 out. Ivan Rodriguez takes ball 1. Rodriguez has hit in 11 of the 12 postseason games which the Marlins have played. He's hit 3 home runs, driven in 17, and number 17 gave Florida a first inning lead last night. And there's Castillo's look at the move of Andy Pettitte.
Andy did not have any pickoffs this year because a lot of American League runners do not run against him anymore. 67 pickoffs since 1995. That's the most in the majors.
That's low. The count's 2-0. That's like a Deion Sanders in the NFL. They say, well, he only had a few interceptions. Well, that's because quarterbacks didn't throw his way. They picked on the other side. And for base stealers, they know that they have to hang close to that bag. And for a first baseman like Nick Johnson, he has to keep his eyes peeled because of that deceptive move by Pettitte. Now it's 3-0 on Ivan Rodriguez. Castillo an infield hit after Pierre grounded out. That's a strike. Rodriguez may have thought it was low. It's 3-1.
Borderline. 3-1, 2-0 counts. We've talked about it before. Normally they're not running counts. You want your hitter to be more selective, but with these Marlin hitters, perhaps it will be. Reason for that, they're contact hitters, not power hitters. Rodriguez with only 16 home runs this year. Andy Pettitte with that very deceptive look home and then throw to first.
3 balls and a strike on Rodriguez. Full count. And again, the crowd will try to get behind Pettitte to help him pick up the second out of the inning.
The third straight 3-2 count by Andy Pettitte.
Already thrown 21 pitches here in the first inning. Runner goes late. Strike 3 called. Throw down, and the inning is over. Strike him out, throw him out, double play. Rodriguez took it. Posada threw it. Soriano was there for the tag. Yankees coming up. We go to the bottom of the first inning of Game 2, and Mark Redmond, the left-hander, will take on this lineup for the Yankees, brought to you by State Farm. Soriano is still in that leadoff spot, really struggling, with Jeter now back in the number 2 hole and Giambi back up in the 3 spot, the DH. Williams is cleaning up. Matsui had 3 hits last night. Posada's the catcher. Aaron Boone. Johnson is all the way down at 8th. And Juan Rivera's in right field, batting 9th against the lefty Mark Redmond.
Mark Redmond, 6'5", 248 pounds, but doesn't throw like it. He rarely hits 90 on the radar gun. He falls behind early in the count and is unafraid to do that. 2 types of changeups, one for a strike and one for a ball, one just off the plate.
Former American leaguer Soriano takes a pitch low for ball 1. Redmond came up with Minnesota in '99, went to Detroit July of 2001, and then traded to the Marlins as that misses outside 2-0. Had a right-hander been making the start for the Marlins, Soriano probably would have been moved out of the leadoff spot by Joe Torre. But against the lefty, he keeps Soriano up there, who is ahead of the count 3-0. 3 balls and a strike. Redmond has actually lost his last 2 starts here as Dusty Baker checks in here in game 2. That's high, and it's a leadoff walk. So Soriano's patient, takes pitches, and gets the leadoff walk. And now the defense for the Marlins. Gonzalez was #1 in the National League, turning double plays during the regular season, and he's been busy this postseason. And there's his double play combo mate, Luis Castillo. Cabrera, Pierre, and Encarnacion in the outfield. Lowell, Gonzalez, Castillo, and Lee on the infield. Pudge Rodriguez is catching the lefty Redmond. Here's Jeter. That's a foul ball. Foul ball, strike 1 on Jeter. Even though Rodriguez shows off those great feet, hops out, but couldn't grab it before it was fouled.
About the quickest feet I have ever seen behind the plate, and how he brings those feet up under him. Joe Torre talking about that today. May have the best mechanics ever for a catcher.
And then he said, present company excluded. He said, you, Tim, and then me, meaning Joe Torre, a former catcher.
Not even close. Neither of us.
Check by Redmond as he shows the world his pickoff move to first.
Right, and he doesn't have a good move to first base, but he thwarts the running game with a quick delivery home. He is one of the quicker deliverers in the National League. Only 1 stolen base against him this year.
A bunt. Lowell lets it roll foul, and that's strike 2.
Juan Pierre could have told Derek what that ball was going to do.
Well, you know, I said that last night, and here it is again. But when Pierre rolled that thing down on the grass, it, for the most part, stayed on the grass. And this time, I guess it more has to do with spin. It was at least making its way toward the line. And then, obviously, if it falls off that shelf of grass, it's going to continue across the line and go foul. It's 0-2 on Jeter. So Jeter in the hole as he has tried to bunt twice. It's 0-2. Ball 1. Redmond's last start was Wednesday night in Chicago. Saw Dusty Baker in the crowd here tonight. Redmond was taking on Baker's Chicago Cubs in Game 7, and he lasted only 3 innings, allowed 5 runs. But obviously his teammates came from behind and won that game as time was called for plate by Rodriguez. Don Mattingly has been here night after night with his son. Played with the Yankees 82-95 and only tasted postseason in 95. The Yankees were a wild card team that lost to Seattle. A 1-2 to Jeter. Good pitch down and in, and Jeter looks bad on that swing. 1 on, 1 out.
Rarely will a catcher set up inside for a changeup to a right-handed batter. Most changeups are thrown away, even though that ball he changed off his breaking ball. That was a curveball that just kept curving.
And now sliding up in the order is Giambi. It's 7th the last 2 postseason games for Joe Torre, and Jeter frustrated with that at bat as Giambi gets his hands up and takes ball 1.
Dusty Baker wanted to be here for the World Series in uniform, in a Cub uniform.
Right, he's got a great outfit on tonight. I mean, he looks fantastic. But scarf going, the glasses, but no Cub uniform on as that pitch hits the outside corner and the count's even at a ball and a strike. Got the Giants to the World Series last year. They had that series advantage, lost game 6 and 7, and then this year with the Cubs suffering the same type fate. Soriano left too soon, a throw down by Lee, 2 out. And the bases are empty with Giambi at the plate.
Soriano picked off easily. Notice how Derek Lee comes toward the pitcher to be in a position to throw the ball. When Derek Lee released that ball, he was on the infield grass. That's something a left-handed thrower doesn't have to do, but a right-hander does.
Now the 1-1 pitch to Giambi, hits him. And Jason Giambi is at first with 2 out. The first pitch nearly hit Giambi, and then the third pitch did. So Redmond obviously trying to work Giambi inside, and Bernie Williams comes to the plate. Last night had 2 hits, including his first home run of this postseason. And the 18th of his postseason career.
That is the only home run hit by the Yankee outfielders in this postseason.
That's in for strike 1. Last night batting left-handed against Penny. That made it a 3-2 game. But then Dontrell Willis took over. Got 7 big outs in relief of Penny. And it was Urbina coming on to close out the 8th and get through a scary 9th inning, issuing a couple of walks but stranding 2, nailing down a 3-2 win. Again, that comes with the disclaimer that Mantle certainly did not have the extra rounds and tiers of playoffs that Bernie Williams gets to enjoy with the division series in the LCS. All those home runs hit in the World Series. One ball, 2 strikes. That's Andy Pettit. Williams takes ball 2.
That's a changeup intentionally thrown out of the strike zone to try to get an aggressive hitter like Bernie Williams to swing at it.
A 2-2 pitch. Down on a knee. Williams able to take it and stay away from it. Almost caught him. And the count's full.
Almost caught him on his back knee. Bernie's back right knee buckled. Looked like a little slider.
Redmond on 3-2 with a runner going. Base hit to center, and Giambi will turn and go to third. First and third, 2 out for the Yankees here in the first.
How important was that pickoff of Alfonso Soriano? Of course, you don't know that Jason Giambi is going to be hit by the pitch, and Soriano's still on first. But still a very important play. Yankees have had 3 of 4 base runners and have not scored a run.
And now Hideki Matsui, who had 3 hits and 4 trips last night. Joe Torre wanted to keep Matsui in this number 5 spot even against the lefty. That's high for ball 1. Matsui telling the Japanese media that he considers himself a big game player. Well, he has had his opportunities already in this, his first year with the Yankees in October. A 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes with Posada next. A 2-0. A Floater that misses. It's 3-0. Redmond's pace is slow, and he has had a tough time falling behind one hitter after another.
4 of the first 5 hitters have been fallen behind by Redmond.
A 3-0. Matsui sticks the bat out, hits it to dead center field. Back is Pierre. 3-0 New York. At 9:25 in the morning in Japan on Monday, they are going crazy, you can bet, as Hideki Matsui, who had the nickname of Godzilla, hit 50 home runs last year in Japan, 16 during the regular season. Just hit his second of this postseason. Curtain call.
Straightaway center field on a 3-0 count. A fastball out over the plate. Hammers the center. Juan Pierre runs out of room.
To the right side, Castillo. Nice play to his left. The inning is over. But not before the Yankees, down 1-0 get a 3-run blast with 2 out from Hideki Matsui. Just got over the wall in center, over the 4:08 mark. And as we go to the second, it's 3-0 New York. Andy Pettitte heads back to work with a 3-0 second inning lead. Cabrera, Lee, and Lowell. The middle part of the order for the Marlins. The scheduled hitters. This is Cabrera, and that's ball 1 up and away. Miguel last night was 0 for 3 in his first World Series action, only 20 years old. Born in Venezuela. And does a little bit of everything for Jack McKeon as he clunks one into center field. It's going to carry all the way out to Bernie Williams, 1 out. Our Sprint Virtual Manager question, which city has the hotter nightlife? Miami or New York, baby? To answer the question, use your PCS Vision phone from Sprint or log on to foxsports.com. My phone right here. This is what I would use if I were to, in the middle of a World Series game, do such a thing. But because this is the World Series and because we are excited to have guests join us on the phone is Michael Strahan. Michael, hello.
How are you?
How you guys doing? We're doing good. Congratulations on getting up over the century mark now with what you did today, getting a couple of sacks as Derek Lee hits it into right field. Back is Rivera for out number 2. And with that, Michael, we'll ask you the question, my friend. In your opinion, which city has the hotter nightlife, New York or Miami, where we're headed tomorrow?
Well, I love Miami. Miami's great, but Miami's nightlife isn't as legendary as New York.
South
so
Beach?
You have to go with New York.
South Beach? Come
on.
on.
Oh, come on. We go all the way back to Studio 54 and all that stuff. So you have to give it to New York.
All right. You've got Broadway. You've got the opera. That's
you have
where you're
a little
going.
bit of everything.
Here's Lowell golfing one into left center field. Matsui, Bernie Williams. It's Bernie Williams. And a 1-2-3 inning. Michael, thanks for joining us, and better luck next week.
All right, thank you, and go Yankees.
All right, that's Michael Strahan. We go to the bottom of the second here at Yankee Stadium. Homer by Matsui, 3-0 New York. First pitch is in for strike 1 to Aaron Boone. It'll be Boone, Nick Johnson, and Juan Rivera. If anybody gets on, Alfonso Soriano. Boone is falling right into the what have you done for me lately category after winning game 7 of the ALCS. Everybody's on him for cutting that ball off on the throw home from Matsui in last night's game. Then in the 9th inning, a fly out after a leadoff walk with his team down by 1. The game ended 3-2. Matsui right now is the difference in this game, swinging at a 3-0 pitch. A change up. Boone didn't go after it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Hard pitch to lay off of after 3 fastballs. But Aaron Boone, that does not go through the strike zone. One of the problems he has had offensively, batting only 167, he's been lunging and jumping at the ball.
Well, Redmond runs the count full, and you can only fall behind so many hitters before it burns you. He got burned in the first.
Yeah, we said on the scouting report he's unafraid to fall behind.
He fell behind here. He gets a pop-up into right, and Encarnacion takes care of Boone.
You can be unafraid to fall behind hitters, but you can take it to a great extent. That 3-0 pitch to Matsui, right down the pipe, and Matsui wasting no time in putting the Yankees ahead.
Nick Johnson now with 1 out, nobody on. Joe Torre telling us before this game that when the series goes to Pro Player Stadium, Nick Johnson will sit, and Giambi, bad left knee and all, will play first. Lowell with a bare hand try, and it's a base hit. A bunt base hit for Nick Johnson with 1 out in the second.
Some third base coaches will have a sign for this, because when you look down, you can't really tell whether the third baseman's that deep or not. But clearly Lowell was deep enough to have to make a barehanded try. And Nick Johnson has a bunt base hit. Nicely done.
Now Juan Rivera. 267 average. He has 4 hits and 15 at bats. Gets the start against the lefty Redmond. First bunt hit of the season for Nick Johnson. And Juan Rivera, with Lowell playing as deep as he was with Johnson, showed it early on the first pitch and took ball 1.
What a rarity that is in baseball. 2 bunt hits back to back.
Well, Lowell's in a different spot now. Even with a bag, he's seen that enough. He's creeping back, and now he goes back to a regular third base position. As that's taken low, 2-0, and Redmond, if he continues to pitch like this, will not last much longer. And right on cue, there's Wayne Rosenthal, the pitching coach for the Marlins. They're going to get cranking in that Florida bullpen. Off day tomorrow, the travel day, and then game 3 will be on Tuesday night.
What a pitching matchup Tuesday night. Mike Mussina for the Yankees and Josh Beckett for the Florida Marlins.
23-year-old right-hander Beckett, who's as big a reason why the Marlins are in this position as anybody they have, with the job he did pitching against the Cubs in the NLCS. A 2-0 pitch. Rivera hammers it into left center field. Over the head of Cabrera to the wall. Nick Johnson will dig for third. They're going to bring him home. The relay by Gonzalez to the plate is wide. Throw down to third. Out. It's 4-0 New York. Not a bad base running play by Rivera either with 1 out. It took a good play, and the Marlins turned it in after the Yankees added to their lead.
Good ball hammered to left field, and that's the time you want to take the chance with 1 out. With nobody out or with 2 out, it would not have been a good play. Hey, he looked like he was in there. The tag was high on the left thigh of Rivera. Willie Randolph with a 3-run lead, taking a chance. Johnson scores rather easily. There's Rivera looking at Johnson. He has to see whether Johnson clears third or not. Looks like a high tag to me. Very, very close.
Looked like Lowell may have gotten him on the left knee just before the right foot in that slide of Rivera got to the base. Here's a 1-1 to Soriano with slow, 2-1.
It is certainly on the left thigh. He looked like he was in there.
You could hear the crowd react when they showed the replay on the board here at Yankee Stadium. Soriano's jammed, and that'll get out of play. 2-2. Third base umpire is Ed Rapuano.
Looked like Lowell's foot was between Rivera's foot and the bag.
Here's a 2-2 to Soriano. Got it by him. Second strikeout. And the inning is over. The play at third goes 7-6-2-5. In case you're wondering, we go to the third inning of Game 2. It's now 4-0 New York. And there he is, the next Joe Millionaire here tonight, enjoying the World Series. Season premiere of the next Joe Millionaire, an international affair, Eastern 7 Central, tomorrow on Fox. Give you and I something to do in the off day.
Sure. It's an off day for baseball, but not for Joe Millionaire.
Not for Joe. Not for Joe. Have the hat on. Breaking ball is in for a strike. It's 0-2. Jeff Conine is at the plate. He's the DH. A hit, 2 at-bats, 2 walks, a run scored in Game 1. Take strike 3 right down the middle, and strikeout number 2 for Andy Pettitte.
Sometimes hitters look for pitchers to waste pitches with the count 0-2, throw it just off the plate. And this one had a good piece of the plate, freezing Conine.
So Conine is sent back to the dugout. Here's Encarnacion. Number 8 hitter in this Marlin lineup. Encarnacion drove in 94 runs during the regular season. The number 9 man, Gonzalez, the shortstop, hit 18 home runs and drove home 77. A 1-0 pitch from Andy Pettitte. 2-0. Worth pointing out again that Pettitte picked up the Yankees after they dropped Game 1 of the division series to Minnesota. Pitched a terrific game here in Game 2, beating Brad Radke. Then after losing Game 1 of the ALCS, Andy Pettitte won Game 2 here at Yankee Stadium over Boston. At least left with a lead Wednesday's Game 6. And here he is trying to pick up the Yankees after a loss in Game 1 last night. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and Encarnacion. Four nothing New York in the top of the third inning. A 2-2. Back-to-back strikeouts. Alex Gonzalez coming up. And let's go down to Steve Lyons.
All right, guys, with Dusty Baker, the manager of the Chicago Cubs, and Dusty, obviously disappointed not to be representing the National League in the World Series. But have you had a chance to step back from that and realize the joy that that team brought to the city?
Well, yeah, I mean, some. You know, I'll step back and realize it more, I guess, once the World Series is all over with. But, you know, this is the World Series, and I didn't have an idea I was coming here. You know, they brought me here to get an award, and still love coming to the World Series, love baseball, love watching, you know, 2 very good teams play.
Obviously, the city of Chicago and the Cub organization brought you there to turn that team around. Did you have any idea that you'd be able to do it as quickly as you did?
No, you know, we were hoping for a couple of years, actually. And by the 3rd year, like Dick Vermeil, the 3rd year, he usually wins. But, you know, we came close. We got a few improvements to make. Guys played great. I'm exceptionally proud of my team. And, you know, now I'm looking at it and I'm here. You know, perhaps we got beat by a better Marlins team. They're a very good team, and I don't think a lot of people know that.
People are finding out about that right now, especially in this series and after the series you played with them. Dusty, congratulations for everything that you did this year. Thanks for joining us.
I'll see you next year.
Steve, thanks. And Dusty, thanks for joining us. And he makes that point about the Marlins team. They trail 4-0 here tonight in the 3rd inning. Andy Pettitte just struck out the side. We go to the bottom of the 3rd here in the Bronx. Jeter, Giambi, Williams coming up. Pettit doing his thing. It's 4-0 Yankees. Derek Jeter first up for New York. Giambi and Williams will follow against Mark Redmond. Strike one on Jeter, who struck out his first time. Last night in Game 1, the Yankees were 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position and only 2 out of 18 with men on. Tonight, a different story. In the first inning, a 2-out, 3-run home run by Matsui on a 3-0 pitch. And then in the second, after a base hit by Nick Johnson, an RBI double by Juan Rivera, he was thrown out trying to get to third. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hard hit, base hit through the left side. Jeter's second hit of this series.
And the bullpen once again active for the Florida Marlins. Quickly this time, Mark Redmond has fallen behind 8 of the first 11 hitters. And once again, we did say that in the scouting report, but that's taking it a little bit too far.
Here's Giambi. Jason hit by a pitch, scored a run back in the first inning, and this time he lines one into right center field for Pierre. Kind of a knuckler out there, and caught by Juan Pierre. 1 out. That'll bring in Bernie Williams. Williams got the hit to extend the first inning and get Matsui to the plate. Soriano had led off with a walk. Jeter struck out. Soriano was caught stealing 1-3-6 as Rick Helling, the right-hander, gets loose. Then after Giambi was hit by a pitch, Bernie Williams, a nice piece of hitting, went after a pitch that was down and singled through the left side, and then the home run by Matsui. That's outside, ball 1. Jeter at first, 1 out. Williams late on that cut. 1 ball, 1 strike. On 1-1, Williams, another foul. Same spot, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You can hear that faint cheer in the background. Let's go Yankees. That is a cheer that was not heard too often last night. Marlins effectively took the crowd out of the game in the first inning when they scored first.
Redmond gave up a leadoff hit to Jeter. Giambi fly to right center, and now this one skips in and past Rodriguez down to second as Jeter. That's the second time in 2 at-bats that Bernie Williams has ended up down on his right knee, and this one missed him and missed the glove of Ivan Rodriguez. It's a wild pitch.
Squirts through the legs of Rodriguez. He got down on his right knee, but he left the trap door open, and Jeter moves to second. Now the easier RBI chance for Williams. And the count's 2-2. To the right side, out of play. David Justice with 63 career postseason RBIs, and Bernie Williams right behind him with 62. Again, with far more chances than the greats who played this game. Divisional play starting in '69. And of course the extra tier, the wild card, the divisional playoffs in '95.
Williams opts out.
The wild card scheduled for 1994, but because of the strike, there was no postseason that year.
The 2-2. Full count. Typically, you'd say, well, with a left-hander like Matsui on deck, you'd think Redmond would stay in for another hitter after Williams, but Matsui's the guy that took him out to straightaway center field. 3-2 pitch. Second walk handed out by Redmond. And Hideki Matsui will walk to the plate, but he will not be facing Redmond. Matsui mania. All of the attention that he gets from the Japanese media covering him here. Even has his picture on a big old jet airliner. He hit one into center his first time up. It's 4-0 Yankees and a pitching change for Florida. Rick Helling was picked up by the Marlins as a free agent in late August. Pitched well out of the bullpen. 11 times in a game, 1 win, no losses, and an ERA of half a run. Here he is into the game to deal with Matsui. Runners on at first and second, 1 out. Hideki is 4 out of 5 in this series.
Japanese fans had a chance to see this swing 50 times last year. 50 home runs in Japan. Only 16 this year, but a big one, and his first one in World Series play.
With 2 on, 1 out, Matsui takes low. Helling is a guy who used to throw to Ivan Rodriguez, who's behind the plate in their days with Texas. Second tour of duty with the Marlins. Helling was a member of the '97 Florida Marlins. Here they won the World Series and beating Cleveland. That is up and away, 2 balls and a strike. Very different with Matsui compared to Ichiro. And the way they travel about. 2 on, 1 out. That's low. 3-1. Joe Torre will tell you Hideki Matsui just falls into his step and into line with everybody else on the team. Ichiro, there's people around him, and is, from all indications, a wonderful guy. And we talked to Brett Boone about how great of a teammate he is. But he is the superstar, and Matsui is just one of the Yankees. 3-1 pitch to the right side. Tough play, Castillo. Out at second. No chance to turn 2. First and third, 2 out. And a nifty play by Luis Castillo to his left.
Bernie Williams had to hold up to see if the line drive was going to be caught. Fielded on 1 hop. Had Williams taken off right away, perhaps he beats the throw to second base. Certainly makes it tougher for those 2 middle infielders for the Marlins. Very impressive.
Now it's Posada batting left-handed. Rounded out his first time up against Redmond. First and third, 2 out. Strike 1 from Helling. Jeter the runner at third. He led off the inning with a hit. A walk to Bernie Williams. He was forced at second. Matsui runs at first. 1-1. Velocity has been getting better and better for Helling. A couple of years ago, wasn't throwing as hard as he is now when he was pitching with Arizona. The 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. This is the 8th time that Helling has pitched at Yankee Stadium. 1-4 record with an ERA of 4.5 coming into this relief appearance. 2-1 pitch. Good delivery. 2-2.
Breaking ball and a fastball count to Posada, a good fastball hitter. Posada thought it was low. Remember, it's not where a catcher catches it, but where it goes across the plate.
Now the 2-2 pitch from Helling. A little wide, full count. The Marlins in their half of the fourth. They have only one hit against Pettit. Will have the top of the order. Good work by Helling to get out of further trouble. A hit, a walk, 2 left in the inning. First 2 stranded by the Yankees tonight. We go to the 4th inning here in Game 2. Still 4-0 New York. Up above, the overhead views of this World Series, courtesy of Saturn and its retailers. Hope you're enjoying Fox's coverage of tonight's game. Top of the order for the Marlins in the 4th inning, and they have to get to work. Juan Pierre first up. Even with the infield in, drops down the bunt. The throw is wide, and Pierre will hold at first on what will likely be another bunt hit, his second of this World Series, and it is.
Andy Pettit falling to the third base side. Pierre taking it with him like he did last night, and Pettit throws it away. Watch Pettit. Had to barehand the ball, a quick throw. And Pierre with a bunt base hit.
He could basically tell you he's going to do it.
He usually does, yeah. He squares around early.
You can't do anything on a bunt like that. It's just put in a perfect place. It's like Brett Butler used to do it. Longtime Dodger and Atlanta Brave and San Francisco Giant. Now a ground ball, diving stop by Boone, throws wide, but out at second as Soriano is able to keep his foot on the bag. 1 on, 1 out.
Boy, that was very close. A fine play by Soriano. On a play like that, a second baseman becomes a first baseman by stretching. And, ooh, that was close. Brilliant play by Boone to make it. And now from his knees, throws to the outfield side, and he was on the bag. Good call. Ooh. Not from that angle.
Not from that angle. Not from that dugout angle. They thought it was 2 on and nobody out as Soriano's foot came off the bag. Second base umpire Jeff Kellogg was right there and called him out.
That last shot showed the left foot just off the bag on contact. If you're a first baseman, you get to cheat on a play like this, but obviously this is not cheating.
Now a ground ball to Jeter, backs up, out at second, out at first, double play. What looked like the start of a promising inning. A blink later is over for the Marlins. Good infield defense by the Yankees in the inning. They get this call from the second base umpire. And only facing 3 is Pettit the 4th. Yankees up by 4. First pitch is swung on and fouled back by Aaron Boone, and we're underway in the bottom of the 4th inning. Boone, Nick Johnson, and Juan Rivera for the Yankees, who lead by 4, trying to even this World Series at a game apiece before we all head to South Florida for Game 3 on Tuesday night. Scored or foul, it's 0-2. Boone is 0 for 5 in this World Series, and 6 out of 37 in the postseason. So one of those 6, the game-winning home run. Game 7 here on Thursday night in the ALCS. An 0-2 pitch. 3 pitches. Boone is gone. Second strikeout for Helling. We already showed you the next Joe Millionaire here tonight enjoying the World Series, but what we didn't tell you is he'll be looking to fill that empty seat next to him starting tomorrow night. Start tonight. There are plenty of candidates around him.
He's going to fill that empty seat on an off day?
Well, the season premiere of the next Joe Millionaire, an international fair, is at 8 Eastern, 7 Central tomorrow on Fox. Pitch is low for ball one. Nick Johnson at the plate. Who will fill that seat? Up the middle, Johnson. Another base hit. He's 2 for 2. A bunt single his first time. And a cue shot up the middle here in the fourth. 1 on, 1 out.
It looked like Castillo overran that ball. Helling may have had a glove on it. Watch how Castillo reaches over it. Ball stayed down. Even had he come up with it, doubtful that he gets Johnson.
So with 1 on, 1 out, the number 9 man is Juan Rivera. He drove home the last run with a double into left center field, and he crushed it. That was against the lefty Redmond, the starter, who lasted only 2 1/3 innings tonight after surviving only 3 innings in Game 7 on Wednesday night in the NLCS. We saw Rivera, Tim, earlier in the season when he was filling in and the spot was open because of the injury to Bernie Williams. And after being sent back out and obviously figuring some things out, Rivera's getting a much better swing at these pitches as we've seen him in this postseason. The count's 0-1.
He was on that Columbus shuttle the last 2 years. Columbus, the AAA affiliate of the Yankees. Has been for years.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, the maturation process, becoming a big league hitter, is very difficult. It takes time. It takes patience.
And there's usually not a lot of that around here.
No.
Although they were willing to be patient with Rivera, if only for the reason that they were trying to maybe include him in a package in a deal for a veteran. That's in foul territory for Pudge Rodriguez. And that's out number 2. Runner at first, 2 out. Soriano coming up. Andy Pettitte has 12 postseason victories, 1 shy of the postseason record. Tonight's MasterCard trivia question: who holds the record for the most wins in the World Series? Forget all that postseason stuff. We're just talking World Series.
Just the series.
Apples to apples. That is Bill Webb's subliminal hint. 1 on, 2 out. Strike 1 on Soriano.
Soriano has been up 56 times in postseason play and has struck out 19 times. Walked only once. Make it twice with that first walk in the first.
0-2. Subliminal hints here in the 4th inning. I wish I had this kind of help when I was in high school. There you go. Somewhere in your mind, somewhere in the depths of your mind back at home, we're just given the answer to the MasterCard trivia question. The 0-2 pitch. Ball 1. You catch it? Did you see a picture flash across your face?
I think I saw it,
there.
The answer flash on your card.
That's supposed to reveal that I know the answers to all these questions that we keep asking, including who has better nightlife, New York or Miami. 1 ball, 2 strikes with Johnson at first, 2 out. Soriano rolls the wrist, hits it deep, and gets it out. 6-0 New York in the 4th. They were all screaming for Soriano to be moved from the leadoff spot. He's been on base twice tonight and just hit his first home run of this postseason. Now it's Derek Jeter with 2 out, nobody on. That's strike 1.
That was a flat slider from Rick Helling. Reaction of Helling, dropping the head as Soriano drops the bat head.
Now the 0-1 to Jeter. Inside. And how those guys figure out those little salute handshakes, I'll never know.
Yeah.
Do you and Gibson do that after a big strikeout?
No.
We touch hands once, then we wiggle our fingers, and we touch hands again.
Took too long to learn it.
2 balls and a strike, actually, with Ron Rivera, who wasn't even here all year. I mean, this is a guy who spent time in the minor leagues. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, hello, thank you. Nice home run. Have a seat. 2 balls and a strike. With 2 out, Jeter. Rolls one over to third, foul, 2-2. 3 in the first for the Yankees, 1 in the second, 2 more here in the fourth, and Andy Pettitte is not thinking about runs that he's getting in support, but thinking about what he has to do on the mound with his head bowed in the dugout. Cabrera, Lee, and Lowell coming up, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters for Florida in the 5th inning. Helling still shaking his head. To the shortstop, Gonzalez to his left. The Yankees are trying to even this series at a game apiece. Would have been dire straits for New York if they headed to Florida down 2-0. But the bats are waking up for the Yankees in game 2. Back after this from your local Fox station. We move into the 5th inning, and it's a 6-0 Yankee lead. It will be the heart of the order. Cabrera, Lee, and Lowell against Andy Pettitte, who keeps throwing strikes. Pettitte has struck out 4, allowed no runs on 2 hits. He's had 2 double plays turned behind him, actually 1 in front of him and behind him on a strike him out, throw him out double play in the first. The 0-1. Left side, tough play for Boone, and he can't make it. See if that goes as a hit or an error. It would have taken a phenomenal play from Aaron Boone to get the out. And we wait on the official scorer's ruling after this.
Cabrera is not a fast runner. Ball did come up on Boone. And it's going to be charged an error on Aaron Boone. So after making that fine play to force the error at second base on the ball hit by Castillo, Aaron Boone makes an error.
Well, they just threw that ball out of play at the behest of Miguel Cabrera and the Marlins, thinking that was a hit, but it goes as an error. So instead of his first World Series hit, that ball ended up in batting practice on Tuesday night. It's an error on Boone and his 3rd of the postseason. Again, that would have been some kind of play if he came up with that. On the dead run, got Cabrera at first. Strike 1 to Derek Lee. Lee flied out to right his first time up. Florida trying to break through somehow, some way against Pettitte. Oh, 0-2 on Lee.
That's that cut fastball. That is vintage Pettitte. As you can see, when right-handed hitters put that in play, they're going to put it in play on the left side of the infield.
The 0-2.
Andy Pettitte gave up 16 unearned runs this year. And normally, ground ball pitchers will give up more unearned runs than fly ball pitchers simply because there are more errors made on ground balls than fly balls. There are no bad hops in the air.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Lee. Runner at first, nobody out, and Lee strikes out. That's strikeout number 5 for Andy Pettitte. Our game summary is brought to you by John Hancock as we play here in the 5th inning. It's 6-0 New York. Matsui a 3-run home run with 2 out in the first inning on a 3-0 pitch. Soriano went deep, and Andy Pettitte on 3 days rest is pitching very well here in the first 4+ innings.
A cutter under the bat of Derek Lee. Yeah, both home runs. The 3-run shot by Matsui, the 2-run shot by Soriano were hit with 2 outs.
1 on, 1 out here for Lowell. A gifted third baseman is Mike Lowell. Had a great year with a bat. Nice pick by Nick Johnson on that ball thrown in the dirt by Posada, who's trying to match Pudge Rodriguez.
I was thinking the same thing. When you are paired against a guy like Pudge Rodriguez, you can't help but be influenced by him. Even though the Yankees are 6 runs up, Posada taking a shot at first.
You're looking down there again as it counts 2 balls and a strike. But just to see the reaction by Joe Torre, and I know your reaction when you talk about the ability and the cat-like reflexes that Pudge Rodriguez has behind the plate. Salivates. Here's a 2-1 pitch from Pettitte. Lowell squirts it to short. Jeter has only 1 play. It's his first, 2 out. And Conine will be the hitter. Play Hit the Pros presented by Chevy Silverado and face real pitches from today's best hurlers. Log on to foxsports.com. Keyword games. Chevy Silverado is the right truck. Jeff Conine steps in to hit with a runner at second, 2 out. Conine struck out his first time. Takes a breaking ball, hits it to center. Bernie Williams slides back. And the inning comes to a close. Andy Pettitte setting him up and knocking him down. Gets around a leadoff error halfway through game 2. 6-0 New York. It'll be the 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the Yankees. Giambi, Bernie Williams, and Hideki Matsui against Rick Helling. Fouled out of play for strike 1. You wonder if a guy like Helling or if somebody else will get an opportunity when this spot in the rotation comes up again for Florida. And you consider Redmond lasted only 3 innings on Wednesday in Game 7 in Chicago and only 2 1/3 here tonight. Giambi didn't get it all, and Encarnacion comes on for route number 1. Giambi now 0 for 2, hit by a pitch. He scored a run tonight. Bernie Williams will dig in. It would be a Game 6 start for Andy Pettitte if this series lasts that long. Back here at Yankee Stadium, where Andy Pettitte so far this postseason is 2-0.
Florida does have the option of having Dontrell Willis as a starter. He, by the way, is available tonight, but of course the Marlins have a long way to go before he becomes available because they're trailing by 6.
1 out, nobody on. Williams takes the ball. I think on the other side of that argument with Dontrell Willis is you've got Michael Tejera, who did not fare well against left-handed batters during the regular season. They hit .392 against him. He's got some left-handed thunder in this lineup for the Yankees. would imagine Jack McKeon would love to have Dontrell Willis for that right spot to bring out of the bullpen in a key moment to get a left-handed batter or two out.
So he'll probably keep him there. That's probably right. Then you bring Redmond back if it goes to 6 against Andy Pettit.
The 1-1 pitch is outside. Tonight, it's at least an opportunity to show what he can do here at Yankee Stadium. Pavano is due to pitch in Game 4 after the electrifying 23-year-old Josh Beckett in Game 3 against Lucina. Beckett pitched a complete game shutout in Game 5 last Sunday, and then 3 days later went 4 innings, allowed 1 run on 45 pitches to get to Urbina in Game 7 at Wrigley Field in the victory over Chicago. With that extra work, that pushed him to Game 3 on Tuesday night. The 2-2 pitch to Bernie Williams. Williams singled and scored in the first, walked in the third. Breaks low, 3-2.
Yankees trying to win their 27th World Championship in a little over 80 years.
26 times. They just won the pennant for the 6th time in 8 years with Joe Torre, and 39th time overall. A 3-2 pitch to Williams. To the left side for Lowell. Has to hurry and gets Bernie Williams for out number 2. Our Pepsi fan cam as we play here in the bottom of the 5th inning of game number 2. Mayor Giuliani to Dusty Baker. Dave Chesney with a look of love. Happy birthday. Ozzie Smith. Osborne Earl Smith. To Don Mattingly. As with 2 out, nobody on, Hideki Matsui back. And takes the ball. Matsui, the biggest swing of the night, a 3-run home run in the first inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. Down the left field line, slicing toward the seats. And out of play for strike 2. Since 1996, Joe Torre's first year, these Yankees have lost Game 1 of a playoff series 8 times. Then they've come back to win 7 of those 8 series. They've done it twice this postseason, against Minnesota and against Boston. Matsui checks it, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Chad Fox, the right-hander, cranks it up.
A little surprised to see Chad Fox up in this situation. Maybe to get some work.
Yeah, I think that's the only reason why, as Matsui hits it into right center field. Well hit again. Back at the track, it's Encarnacion to haul in out number 3. We go to the 6th inning. Andy Pettit back to the hill. The Yankees having fun tonight in Game 2. They lead 6-6. Matsui just flied to the track in right. Lee Mazzilli, the first base coach, asked Matsui this.
It break. That break.
It did break. We have video proof as Encarnacion takes a pitch inside for ball 1.
Clearly splintered it.
still got it out to the track as Encarnacion was there to catch it.
You see Matsui look down after he made contact. He knew it was broken, and it's what usually happens when you hit it on the trademark.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Encarnacion. It's high, 2 balls and a strike from Pettit. Just so you know, it's usually the first question that's asked of Joe Torre every night. What about Rivera? How many innings would Joe Torre use Rivera if the situation came up? If they need him, he is available for 2 innings tonight. But right now, it's 6-0 New York as the count goes to 3-1 on Encarnacion. Worked 3 innings on Thursday night in the Game 7 victory over Boston. A leadoff walk puts Encarnacion aboard, and that's the first walk of the night. Handed out by Andy Pettit. The in-game box score for the Marlins is brought to you by AT&T Wireless. Pierre, a bunt single back in the 4th inning. Castillo, an infield single in the 1st. Other than that, a lot of zeros. You can add a walk for Encarnacion, who's on to start the 6th. Here's Gonzalez. Gets a look at that Pettit pickoff move.
There is no way, however, that Encarnacion can be picked off in this situation. Trailing by 6. Perhaps told that by Perry Hill, the first base coach.
Strike 1 and Gonzalez. You know, if you're Aaron Boone, you better get your rest the night before an Andy Pettit start, because the third baseman's going to be busy with all those pitches diving down and into those right-handed batters. One ball, 1 strike after the leadoff walk to Encarnacion. Fox is ready to go out in that Marlin bullpen. Fouled back, strike 2. Great buzz in this city for the opening next month of Tennessee Williams' Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Jason Patrick, a star with Ed Beatty and Ashley Judd. The Yankee fan watching here tonight. Yankee crowd trying to make some noise as Pettit has 2 strikes on Alex Gonzalez. High heat, got it by him. Strikeout number 6 for Pettit.
Even though the Yankees are up by 6 runs, an important out, the first out of the 6th inning, with Juan Pierre coming up.
Jeffrey Loria, the owner of the Florida Marlins, is living and dying with every pitch with his team down by 6 here in the 6th inning. And here is Pierre with a runner at first, 1 out. Pierre, a bunt hit his last time up. Flinching on the breaking ball that stays up and in, ball 1.
Pierre with 204 hits, 168 of which were singles. Most in the majors.
On the inside corner, 1-1. We just saw Jeffrey Loria, who's the owner of this Marlins team, used to own the Montreal Expos, and at one point during a long road trip this season, Loria was with the ball club. They weren't playing well. They had a 1-9 trip. Pierre chopped it foul, and in the middle of it, Jeffrey Loria said, you know what we're going to do for a little diversion? We're going to take the plane, the charter, to Vegas. You guys get off. They went to the Bellagio, spent 3 hours, blew off a little steam, got back on the charter, and then went to Pittsburgh and got swept by the Pirates. Heartwarming story about the Marlins 2003 regular season. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Too far inside, 2-2.
Left-handed batters batting .321 against Pettit this year. And Andy doing a much better job coming inside the left-handers in the postseason.
Marlins trying to get something going, trying to do it with Pierre at the plate. And a slow roller for Johnson. Pierre, there's nowhere to go on. 2 out, down to second is Encarnacion.
Back inside. Pierre looking down at Encarnacion and thinking he had a chance to go to third. No way.
So now Castillo will step to the plate. 1 for 2 tonight. I guess you'd have to have a gambler's mentality to jump from the Expos to the Marlins. The one thing that Jack McKeon talked about last night before the game is Castillo is tanking all the way, and it's a ball. We talked about it. He was managing the Reds to salivate at the kind of young talent that was brought here really by Dave Dombrowski, who was the general manager and the guy in charge of dismantling that '97 World Championship team. They brought some young talent over, and it finally blossomed this season.
Dave Dombrowski now the general manager of the Detroit Tigers off a horrible season. 119 losses for the Tigers this year.
Signed by the Marlins at age 16 after fielding 1 ground ball in the tryout. Didn't take long, I guess, to realize the kind of talent that my gosh, I'd have a shot to sign with the Marlins. I would field 1 ground ball. 2 balls and a strike on Luis Castillo. Kind of a throwback team, these Marlins, with the speed at the top. Kind of a Whitey ball. Cardinals, early to mid 80s, the Montreal Expos. A lot of AstroTurf teams who would get on, run, get them over, drive them in with a ground out or sac fly. The Marlins doing it the old way. A 2-1 to the left side. Jeter got a tough hop and gets the out. A leadoff walk. Andy Pettit pumped up as he gets around it. Bottom of the 6th inning rolls in. Yankees bat up by 6. Chad Fox takes over the numbers this postseason, and you talk about a guy who has filled a role for Jack McKeon and the Marlins. This is the guy cut loose by Boston. They didn't have room for a guy that threw in the mid-90s with a good breaking ball in that Boston bullpen in the middle part of the season. The Marlins picked him up. He's the real right-handed setup man for Urbina, and a guy that Jack McKeon in a tight game likes to bring out of the bullpen with runners on. 2 balls, no strikes on Posada. Jack McKeon, who grew up 25 miles away from here in Jersey, as a kid would come to this stadium and the Polo Grounds to watch Major League Baseball. There's a strike. 3-1. Posada takes ball 4, a leadoff walk. Chad Fox isn't happy with that. Johnson Lake, Nebraska. Hello. Fans from everywhere enjoying this World Series here in the Bronx. And here's Aaron Boone, who is hitless tonight. Boone is flied to right, struck out. over with low ball one.
Interesting when you compare the managers of these two teams. Joe Torre signing with the Milwaukee Braves back in 1958. His brother Frank Torre, of course, played first base for the Braves in the 1957 series. Had a good one. Jack McKeon, on the other hand, was a playing manager that same year, in 1958, managing the Missoula Timberjacks. Our pal Jim Cott, whom Jack will see tomorrow in South Florida, was a pitcher, 19-year-old pitcher for the Missoula team. Bob Euchre was a catcher in that league that year, catcher for Boise. Jack, a playing manager as a 27-year-old when Torre signed with the Milwaukee Braves.
He said, I knew the guys that I wanted to spend time with. That Jim Cott, I knew he was going to be a good one. I didn't spend time with those other donkeys I knew wouldn't make it to the big league. The 2-1 pitch. Boone goes after it, 2-2, and Aaron Boone really struggling with his swing. The only ball that he made great contact with was the knuckleball of Tim Wakefield in the 11th inning on Thursday night.
That one swing makes up for a lot of outs.
A leadoff walk, and now a full count as Fox is having a tough time throwing strikes. Pavano is joined by Tejera out of the Marlins bullpen. Pavano, as we mentioned, is due to pitch on Wednesday night in Game 4. Made a solid Game 6 start at Wrigley. Runner goes. Boone strikes out. Throw down is in time. A strike him out, throw him out, double play, and the ex-catcher of 20-plus years groans as he watches this incredible throw from Pudge Rodriguez.
Off balance, throwing the ball over Aaron Boone, and a strike to get Posada. A wink and a hug.
10-time Gold Glove Award winner, tied with Johnny Bench for the most ever at that position. And there's a strike, and it's an ease to Nick Johnson.
Remarkable throw to get Nick Johnson at third base with 2 outs last night. A base-running blunder by Johnson. But I think that throw over Aaron Boone was a better throw because of the obstacle of throwing it over Boone, but keeping it low enough to get to second base in time. Man, ridiculous.
It's almost making you mad, isn't it?
Gosh. Here it is one more time. I mean, Boone swings through the pitch, and now he throws it over Boone, who ducks slightly. But it's got to be low enough to get there in time, and it's right on the money. How do you do that? From one knee.
2-1 pitch to Nick Johnson, 3-1. Can you imagine if Carlton had a catcher who could have done that? That's into right center field off the bat of Nick Johnson. It's going to get all the way to the wall, and Johnson has his third hit of the night. It's a double with 2 out here in the 6th.
All started with a bunt base hit back in the 2nd inning. The first of 3 for Johnson with a couple of runs scored. Nick entering tonight's game, batting .163 in the postseason. You don't get in a slump in one night, you don't get out of it in one night, and Nick understands that.
Juan Rivera now, the number 9 hitter. 1 for 2, an RBI double back in the 2nd. Breaking ball to Rivera. Strike 1.
That's that tightly wrapped slider from Fox. It looks like a splitter.
Rivera missed that by a foot. The gum is always perilously close to falling out of the mouth of Chad Fox as he works, especially in October. The 0-1 pitch. Into right center field. That ball carrying to Pierre. Right in front of the track to end the inning. We go to the 7th. Fox made it difficult on himself. Rodriguez shows his wares behind the plate again. Gotcha. Back after this from your local Fox station. Top of the 7th inning, 6-0 New York. Ivan Rodriguez, who just showed off how brilliant he can be behind the plate, will lead it off. Giving a wink back to his dugout when he took care of Posada, running on a 3-2 pitch. The bottom of the 6th inning, takes a strike. He has become a team leader. He has matured. He has taken the reins for Jack McKeon, a former catcher. Steve Lyons is with us. Steve.
Well, Joe, you talked about Rodriguez giving the wink and a hug. Many viewers from last night's ball game may have seen him give a little peck on the cheek to Huguet Urbina after the ball game. That's something they said they've done in the past. They're very, very good friends. He says it means nothing. It's just all about Latin passion and enthusiasm for the game and true friendship. Joe?
Another angle. Thank you, Steve. 2 balls and a strike on Pudge Rodriguez. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Talked about how the Marlins signed Luis Castillo when he was 16. Miguel Cabrera also signing when he was 16. The Marlins have concentrated their scouting areas in Latin America because 35% of their fan base, their first language, is Spanish.
2-2 pitch is chopped foul. They have one of the greatest broadcasters ever, Felo Ramirez.
Oh, yeah.
Who takes the travels with this Marlins team, a Hall of Famer. And a guy who a lot of these Marlins players respect and look up to. They're calling these games in Spanish back to South Florida. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ivan Rodriguez 0 for 2 tonight. Has anybody paid attention to the fact that Andy Pettitte is working on a 2-hit shutout? He's gone about his business. He struck out 6. He's walked only 1. The Yankees have turned 2 double plays. Pitch count is down. 3 days rest. And he's happy to get out of the way of that line drive off the bat of Rodriguez. Leadoff man is on, and the Marlins have proven time after time that they do not quit as they bat here in the 7th. Once again, tonight's MasterCard trivia question: who holds the record for the most wins in the World Series? After our hint, blatant and subliminal, the answer is Whitey Ford with 10. Now with the leadoff man on, here's Miguel Cabrera. Still hitless in this World Series, even though he thought he had one his last time up. It was ruled as an error. Lower left. Breaking ball in for a strike. Depending on whether the Yankees win or lose, for fans in South Florida that aren't familiar with it, after the game here at Yankee Stadium. Ground ball to third. That's a fair ball. Cabrera doesn't run, and it's an easy double play. Cabrera didn't run. Got halfway down the line as that ball stayed fair.
Talked about Aaron Boone and how alert he has to be. He completed the play. Cabrera didn't. Looking back at the umpire, he now doesn't run hard.
The only explanation is he thought it hit him. I guess, in the batter's box, as that ball went right over the bag.
Yeah, Boone fielded it in foul territory, but it went over the bag.
But Cabrera didn't run before that ball got to the bag.
I think what he may have been pointing to was his left foot.
Oh, yeah.
It did. Yeah, it did hit his foot. The ball hit his left ankle. So instead of a foul ball, it's a double play. No wonder Cabrera didn't run. The home plate umpire cannot see it, but watch his left ankle. That ball definitely hit him. And once it hits him, it's a foul ball. So trickling down to third, Aaron Boone completing the play, and the Yankees get 2 outs.
And Cabrera explaining as best he can. He turned around as Lee hits one in the air to right. That ball's got a chance at the wall. It's caught by Rivera. And a bad break for Florida in this 7th inning. They get a leadoff hit. They have their cleanup man on. He hits a foul ball off his left ankle that somehow stays fair, and instead of a strike, it's a 5-4-3 double play. Andy Pettitte, a 3-hit shutout through 7. Time to stretch, 6-0 Yankees.
From the mountain to the prairie to the ocean, white with foam, God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet
Ronan Tynan with God Bless America here at Yankee Stadium, and on the heels of that beautiful rendition which he delivers night after night, we at Fox Sports wish to extend our condolences to Kevin Hallinan. He's the Senior Vice President of Security and Facility Management for Major League Baseball. Kevin's wife Joan passed away yesterday, and all of our thoughts and prayers are with the Hallinan family. As a new pitcher enters out of the bullpen for the Florida Marlins, we remind you that these overhead views are provided by Saturn. The team at Saturn hopes you're enjoying this unique look from high above Yankee Stadium and invites you to click on Saturn.com for a look at all their new 2004 lineup. The World Series on Fox is brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. Here at Yankee Stadium, Carl Pavano takes over, but an interesting thing happened here 2 days ago. We showed you Juan Pierre, who came out a couple of hours before his teammates arrived on the team bus on the workout day. We showed you rolling the ball, showed him rolling the ball down the foul lines to check if it's tilted one way or another. He was knocking the ball off the wall in the outfield to check the carom out in center field. And then he took a moment with teammate Michael Tejera walking around Monument Park. Not Mike, but we listened in.
Old Billy Martin. Get him and Reggie. Louisiana Lightning.
Yeah?
From Louisiana, but
Hometown boy.
Yeah.
Hometown boy.
About an hour away from where I'm from. They put Mickey Rivers up here.
This is history here, baby.
Yeah. Biggest stage right here. Can't get a bigger stage to play on.
A little more than 24 hours later, he would be crucial to the Marlins' victory in Game 1. Scoring the first run, driving in the next two, and a 3-2 win. Tonight, though, the story is Andy Pettitte and the Yankee bats coming alive. Soriano is at the plate dealing with Carl Pavano. Soriano tonight has walked and caught stealing, struck out, and hit a 2-run home run. That is hit hard but foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fox went 1 inning. No runs, 1 hit, a double, 1 strikeout, 1 walk, and now Pavano, who is due to pitch on Wednesday night in Game 4, gets a little taste of this World Series before he makes that start against Roger Clemens. A 1-1 to Soriano. Strike 2.
Carl Pavano, through association, has had a taste of greatness before. 1998, you were there, Joe. Mark McGwire's 70th home run. Carl gave that up. A couple of years before that, traded from Boston to Montreal to Pedro Martinez. Those are 2 pretty good brushes with greatness right there.
And that's a pretty good fastball over the outside corner for strike 3 as it comes back. Catches the corner on Soriano, at least according to Larry Young, the home plate umpire. 1 out, nobody on.
That's a pitch you can afford to make when you're way ahead in the count. Notice Rodriguez setting up off the plate and taking into consideration that tail on the fastball. It looked a little outside, but no argument from Soriano.
Now Jeter. 1 for 3 with a single in the 3rd inning. He's grounded out. He struck out. Started to say last half inning that at the end of the game here at Yankee Stadium, they play either Liza Minnelli's version or Frank Sinatra's version of New York, New York. Off the outside part, 2-0. They play Liza after they lose and Frank after they win. We heard Liza last night. The 2-0 pitch. 2-1.
Now that inspired rendition, they're both taken every time Ronan Tynan sings God Bless America. So inspirational. But we talked about how the Marlins have built up their scouting in Latin America. Now it's 13 hours difference in Japan. Hideki Matsui, one of their heroes, 3-run homer tonight. Well, when this game started, it was 3 a.m. as Derek Jeter gets hit on the left ankle, I believe. It's 3 a.m. in Baghdad. And our troops are watching tonight's game through our international feed, taking our feed, actually. Barry Thorne, Rick Sutcliffe for the call.
5:15 a.m. Certainly while we watch and those play the game, that caught him on the right knee.
Right knee.
Jeter right back into the box. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We hope to present a little diversion with what you're all faced with over in Iraq. We're watching in Baghdad as we play here in New York with a series about to shift to South Florida. Travel day tomorrow. Game 3 on Tuesday night, and the Yankees trying to even the series before we all get on planes. Jeter walks away before they appeal, and the first base umpire, Gary Darling, says he went. 2 strikeouts to start the inning. Major League Baseball Ultimate World Series Pass. Game 2 winning number is what you see displayed here. If your hologram number matches the one shown here, you are eligible to claim a $10,000 U.S. shopping spree at Radio Shack. Or just $10,000 U.S. shopping spree at Radio Shack. That's the opposite way off the bat of Giambi into the corner, takes the hop off the wall, and it's a 2-out double. So Giambi trying to find his stroke. Is lined out tonight, gets his first hit. It's a double into left field.
Well, that's how a lot of hitters find their stroke. They go the other way. That front shoulder is so important in hitting. And when you hit a ball like that, the outside part of the plate, the other way, it puts that shoulder in the proper position. And when you have it in the proper position, closed, a lot of things good happen. You can see right on the sweet part of the bat for Jason Giambi as he doubles to left.
And so with 2 out, the inning continues for Bernie Williams, who has singled and scored, walked and grounded out. Braden Looper, the hard-throwing right-hander. Michael Tejera, the lefty, getting ready. Pavano misses with ball 1. I wouldn't imagine the Marlins would want to extend Pavano too far, either within this 7th or beyond the 7th, with a start coming up in a couple of days.
No.
Andy Pettit has been dominant. 2-0 now on Bernie Williams.
Another reason I'm a little surprised that Jack McKeon chose Pavano tonight in a 6-run ball game is you give the Yankees a chance to see him.
And the guys who get their look at him, the big bats in this lineup, Soriano, Jeter, Giambi, Williams. If Williams reaches, it'll be Matsui. And he is 1 pitch out of the strike zone away from making that happen. 3-0. The only reason to go with Pavano in this spot would be just to get him some live game action before that start on Wednesday night. Otherwise, 6-0 game as he walks Bernie Williams, and we'll see if that's it for Pavano.
Perhaps our audience is thinking, well, Pavano has a chance to see the Yankee hitters also. That's true. But generally speaking, when neither has seen the other, the pitcher has the advantage.
So Matsui will get a look at Pavano here with 2 on, 2 out, even with the lefty Tejera ready in the Marlin bullpen. Strike 1. Pavano started game 6 of the NLCS on Tuesday night. Threw 86 pitches. Kept the Marlins in the game. That was the game started by Mark Pryor. And they eventually came up with 8 in the 8th. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two on with 2 out, 1 ball, 1 strike on Matsui. Strike 2. Roger Clemens will have plenty of rest before his game 4 start. His mound opponent is in the middle of the diamond right now. Giambi and Williams are on. 2 out. And the 1-2 to Matsui. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Roger Clemens will have a chance to hit on Wednesday night. Obviously, all Yankee pitchers will. The last time Roger Clemens was at bat during the World Series was Game 7 of the 2001 World Series. He started against Kurt Schilling. That game, of course, won in the bottom of the 9th by Luis Gonzalez. The Diamondbacks were the world champions.
He went 0 for 2.
I remember one line drive he hit to right field. Is that right? If you're checking your book?
He struck out, and I just have fly to right. I don't know if it was a line drive or a fly ball.
As far as Rogers concerned, it was a line drive.
That memory left me a long time ago. Here's a 2-2. Matsui grounds to second. Castillo, a tough play as the ball stayed down. To his left, Luis makes the play, gets the out. We go to the 8th inning of Game 2. Andy Pettitte back to the hill, working on a 3-hit shutout, leading by 6. Susan St. James on your right with a guest here at Game 2 of this World Series. Come on, that's Dick Ebersol, man who runs NBC Sports, with a Yankee stocking cap on as ball 1 is outside to Mike Lowell. It'll be Lowell, Conine, and Encarnacion. Line drive is a base hit into right field. The Marlins put their leadoff man on for the last 5 innings. A hit here in the 8th, a hit in the 7th, a walk in the 6th, an error in the 5th, a base hit in the 4th. However, they have yet to string anything together as Conine steps in 0 for 2.
And this inning a lot different from any of the past 5 innings, because if Pettitte gets in trouble, Mariano Rivera is waiting in the wings. A man who has been close to unhittable in postseason play.
We've mentioned it in the division series. We've done it in the ALCS. It's worth bringing up again. Andy Pettitte may get another start in this World Series. It would come in Game 6 as Jose Contreras walks down to get loose. Is a free agent to be, Andy Pettitte. And his price keeps going up with these Yankees. The job that he has done this postseason. The 1-0 pitch. I'm sure Joe Torre is in no rush to show the Marlin hitters Mariano Rivera.
Good point.
If he can avoid it. First of all, Rivera's coming off a 3-inning outing on Thursday night, but he's had enough rest. And as Gabe White joins Contreras, there's nothing wrong with a little mystery if you're Joe Torre with regard to Rivera and these hitters. Strike 2 on Kona.
Yeah, so it's reasonable to assume that Rivera would only get in the game, obviously, if the Marlins score 3 or 4 runs right now.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Kona. Pettitte has struck out 6, walked only 1, and allowed 4 hits. Two and 2. Encarnacion is next, then Gonzalez, then back to the top, Juan Pierre. Just pitching on the hands of Conine, and he fights it off. That's a stat factor. And who's looking at him? Kareem Garcia. Three and 2. Well, it wouldn't take much more for the Marlins to get their first real excitement of the night offensively against Andy Pettitte. This is Josh Beckett. He will start on Tuesday night. Late swing and a miss, 91-mile-an-hour fastball, and strikeout number 7 for Pettitte.
Conine may be chasing ball 4, but certainly close enough to swing.
Now it's Encarnacion, 1 on, 1 out. Juan is struck out and walked. Breaking ball in for a strike. Bobblehead. Encased by a K for a strikeout. 7 on the night, and that misses high. Ball 1 to Encarnacion. Take a look at our game summary. It's brought to you by Nissan as Andy Pettit gets a quick visit from Jorge Posada. Andy Pettit, 7 1/3 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts. Last complete game shutout by a Yankee in the World Series, Ralph Terry, game 7 of 62. 3 runs in the first. The Yankees have turned 3 double plays tonight. One of them to strike him out, throw him out double play, and one of them when it was turned after the ball should have been fouled off the leg of Miguel Cabrera. 2 out, down to second is Lowell, and Gonzalez will walk to the plate. Alex has not done much of anything with a bat in the postseason. 4 out of 45.
Wow. He did, however, have a big sacrifice in last night's game that moved runners to second and third, and both scored on a hit by Juan Pierre.
With the infield in.
Right.
Gonzalez. Strike 1. Alex has 4 RBIs in the postseason. The only reason why I say with the infield in. As you see, Mike Redmond getting ready to go out and catch. Ivan Rodriguez is finished for the night, it appears. Time called at the plate. With the infield in, Juan Pierre slapped at the ball last night. Drove home 2 runs with a base hit just past the glove of Derek Jeter. Had he been back, might have had a shot at making a play. They had to play in to guard against the speed of Pierre. That's to Jeter. On 2 high. Andy Pettit is through 8 shutout innings. Gets around another leadoff hit. And as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning here at Yankee Stadium, it's still 6-0 New York. Fox Sports have partnered with Saturn to bring you aerial views of tonight's game. Saturn and its retailers hope you're enjoying the 2003 World Series. Mike Redmond is the new catcher, taking over for Ivan Rodriguez, who will sit the rest of this one out. A guy with great stuff, an electrifying fastball. Braden Looper takes over. 5th pitcher of the night for Florida. A 95-mile-an-hour pitch, misses low.
Braden Looper had 28 saves this year. But the Marlins went out and traded for Rudy Urbina on July 11th. And Urbina became the main closer. He had a save in last night's game.
On 2-0, 3-0. This is what can get Looper in trouble.
Yep.
Control. Aaron Boone is on deck, and then Nick Johnson, who has 3 hits. 3-1. Nate Bump, the right-hander, gets loose. That's strike 2, 3-2. Looper came up in the Cardinal organization and was part of the Edgar Renteria trade. Still 3-2 on Posada. Some of the cast of that '70s show is hanging out, sticking it out in the bottom of the 8th inning with the Yankees up 6-0. They want to see if Andy Pettitte can complete what is right now a 4-hit shutout. So far, the Yankee bullpen, which was busy last half inning, is quiet. Posada strikes out. Looper comes back from a 3-0 count to strike out Posada. 1 out here in the 8th.
Looper blowing the high fastball by Jorge.
Boone now is looking for his first hit.
First hit since the home run on Thursday night. 0 for 4 last night, 0 for 3 tonight.
In under the hands of Boone, 2-0. Do you remember when we asked our Sprint Virtual Manager question about which city has the hotter nightlife? I never heard your answer. What would your answer be? New York or Miami? The 2-0 pitch. 2-1.
New York.
And in one of the closer calls we've had all season long, New York wins 52% to 48%.
Michael Strahan made a difference.
Michael Strahan was our guest back in the second. He picked New York. That's where he played.
Tough call, though. Only 96% of precincts reporting.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Some hanging chads down in Florida, no doubt. Two balls, 2 strikes with 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. Who is the current mayor of this red-hot city, New York? Michael Bloomberg. Former Mayor Giuliani. Seats for life right down by that dugout. That's outside, 3-2. Boone with a base hit up the middle. 1 for 4 tonight. Fought it off, and he's on with 1 out.
Oh, the way these Florida Marlins have played in the postseason. They earned the wild card berth. They beat the Giants, heavily favored San Francisco Giants. They come back to beat the Cubs after trailing 3-1. Certainly analogous to what the Seattle Mariners did in 1995. Last 2 months of the season, capturing the hearts of that city, playing the New York Yankees in the wild card format, beat them in 5 games, and 2.5 years later, Safeco Field was built. And perhaps the same will happen to the Marlins.
They're making their push for a new stadium. Season like this where they end up in the World Series go a long way to helping with those efforts. The problem is some still have the taste of what happened in '98 after the organization won it all in '97 with a different owner, different front office, and different time.
Yeah, a new stadium, as Cincinnati showed this year, is not a sign of a club fielding the very best club possible. I mean, The Cincinnati Reds moving into a new ballpark this year, the Great American Park, and dismantling that team in late July.
How about Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh, same deal.
All they did was fuel the races around baseball. They took their team apart, helped the Cubs get into the postseason with the players they send to Chicago. Nick Johnson strikes out, 2 out. First time that Nick Johnson's been retired tonight.
Good fastball from Looper, that tailing fastball to get Nick Johnson. That's a 2-seam fastball. You see a right-hander with that ball shooting away from a left-handed batter like that. That is a 2-seamer that you hear so much about.
You talked about raw stuff. Braden Looper has the best raw stuff in the bullpen for the Florida Marlins. You'll get Urbina at this point in his career, more veteran of the two, and a guy who is more used to closing big games. He knows how to pitch. He knows how to use his stuff. He has a good changeup, which he featured last night. Looper is a guy that, when the weather's right, get it up there in the upper 90s. Here's a 1-0. Off the bat of Rivera to the shortstop Gonzalez, and a wide throw. Castillo snags it to end the inning. We go to the 9th inning here in Game 2. Andy Pettitte will head back to work, try to finish what he started. 6-0 New York. It is 6-0 as we go to the 9th inning. And as you look at what's happened in this game, one thing Andy Pettitte did was, for the most part, keep Juan Pierre off base. He got on base one time, but with the next batter was immediately erased on a force out at second base.
Andy Pettitte, who has only one complete game this year, is out there in the 9th inning, only 23 in his 8-year career with the Yankees.
Last complete game in World Series play was Randy Johnson, Game 2 of 2001. A 4-0 shutout over Pettitte as Pierre grounds to Jeter. And Pierre has been on base only once tonight. 1 out here in the 9th. And we told you that last Yankee World Series complete game shutout was Ralph Perry in Game 7 in '62. Our All-State good hands defensive play of the game is the ball off Cabrera's left ankle. He didn't run, and for good reason. The ball hit him. It stayed fair, went right over the bag, and it ended up a 5-4-3 double play in the 7th inning. A bad break for Cabrera and the Marlins. Fastball for a strike with the crowd at Yankee Stadium chanting his name. Pettitte. That fan pleads with Andy to stay, a free agent to be. The 0-1 pitch. Ball and a strike. I know you remember that Ralph Perry complete game with McCovey lining out to Bobby Richardson for the final out.
Certainly do.
The Yankees didn't win another title for 15 years after that. Back in '62. That is high, and they count 2 balls and a strike.
Yankees winning in 1976 and then losing 4 in a row to the Cincinnati Reds. Then they won the pennant in '77 and '78 also.
2-1. Up the middle, Castillo is on with his second hit of the night. Joe Torre certainly would love to get Andy Pettitte through 9 innings here tonight, but realizing as he's working on 3 days rest, he's not going to get too crazy. We're trying to get that statistic for Pettitte here tonight. Action for the Yankees out in their bullpen, a left-hander and a right-hander. As Pettitte will deal with Mike Redmond, the backup catcher. There's Rivera with Contreras to his right. Redmond batting in the spot vacated by Rodriguez, who was 1 for 3 tonight. You get the feeling that the fans who typically fill this park in postseason series leading up to the World Series and during the regular season are the ones that are left in a 6-0 game, and they're the ones that are chanting Andy Pettitte. 0-2 on Redmond.
Obviously, the tickets are very expensive to the World Series, so a lot of the fans that support the Yankees during the season can't attend World Series games.
0-2 on Redmond. If he wins tonight, Andy Pettitte will be 3-0 this postseason. Slapped into right, Rivera in to his left. Nice catch, 2 out. All 3 of Pettitte's wins will have come in Game 2 of postseason series this year, with his team trailing 1-0. 65,000 people will pack into Pro Player Stadium on Tuesday night and watch their 23-year-old Josh Beckett take on Mike Mussina. And we're 1 out away from the series being even at a game apiece.
Perhaps the reason that the Yankees were lethargic last night, the Marlins running into a buzzsaw tonight, but on Tuesday night, both teams will be rested against 2 terrific pitchers.
1-1 on Miguel Cabrera. Mike Mussina wanted that pitch for Pettitte. Left side, Boone cuts across and can't make the play.
Now I wonder how they'll score this. They scored an error on Aaron Boone the second time Cabrera was up. The third time he was up, the ball hit his pants leg. And now another error. So Miguel Cabrera has had that first World Series hit taken away from him 3 times tonight.
Well, the Yankee fans probably thinking Aaron Boone is a good defensive third baseman, and he is. Second error tonight, his 4th of the postseason, after committing only 6 during the regular season with the Yankees. Derek Lee at the plate, with his crowd wanting to see Pettitte finish this game. Into shallow right field. That ball's going to get down for a hit. They bring Castillo to the plate. The throw is in toward third, and the shutout is gone, and that could be it for Andy Pettitte. So the error by Boone extends the inning. Derek Lee capitalizes with a base hit to right. It's 6-1, and that's going to be it for Pettitte. He should get a huge ovation as he exits at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees dip into their bullpen to try to finish off Game 2. When the pitching change was made, Aaron Boone, because of this error, which could have ended the night and given Pettitte the complete game shutout, Aaron Boone apologized, and Andy Pettitte telling him don't worry about it. Posada doing the same. As now it's Contreras into the game with 2 on 2 outs. And Mike Lowell at the plate. So again, this was an opportunity for Joe Torre to use Rivera if he wished. But kind of keeping that veil over Rivera until another opportunity. Using Contreras here to try to finish off the ninth. Lowell tonight 1 for 3. Counts 2-0.
However, that opportunity may come if Lowell and Conine get on base, because that would bring the tying run to the plate. Joe Torre and Mel Stottlemyre thinking that if Contreras has to run it up there and set it on a tee, that's what he should do. A walk's as bad as a home run right here.
2-1. Runners on at first and second, 2 out, and a 2-1 pitch. Lowell hits it hard. Boone on a knee. Makes the throw to second, and the game is over. The Yankees take game 2, 6-1, and the series is tied at a game apiece. Aaron Boone on that final play showing what he can do at third base. And Andy Pettitte gets his 13th career postseason victory.
Aaron Boone made 2 good plays tonight at third and 2 bad plays, and he ends it on a good note.
So Rivera does not make an appearance in the first 2 games of this World Series. Andy Pettitte is the story in the Yankee bats, coming up with 6 runs on 10 hits. There are always thoughts about the movie Jaws and Steven Spielberg. They left the surprise for later in the movie. You didn't see the shark until the movie was almost 2/3 of the way through. Joe Torre has that shark swimming out in the bullpen, Mariano Rivera, and the Marlins don't have to deal with Rivera in the first 2 games. Torre will save him for a spot later on in this series. Let's go in and check in with Steve Lyons as Rivera and the bullpenners make their way in on the heels of a 6-1 victory. Steve?
All right, Joe. Thank you very much, Andy. You've always been such a big game pitcher for this team, but in the first inning, you struggled a little bit to find the strike zone. What did you do? What adjustments did you make to get back on the strike zone?
Well, I was missing a little bit. I was kind of fighting myself a little bit, wondering what kind of game I wanted to pitch on 3 days rest. And, just felt good. I was fighting, with my sinker a little bit, trying to make it move instead of just throwing the ball. But, got it going after the guys scored some runs, and that was big.
It's going to be talked a lot about in this series. The key to the Florida Marlins is Pierre and Castillo at the top of that lineup trying to get on base. You have to keep them off. How did you go about doing that tonight?
Well, I was just able to get Pierre out. He laid that one button down. He's so fast, but I was able to get him out, and then just was able to get the double plays with Castillo and stuff. And the main reason is just I've got so many. I got to say, I got so many people back home at my church tonight praying for me. I know they're there and around all over the country praying for me, and just I thank God and He just blessed me to be able to do this tonight.
You brought it up, pitching on 3 days rest. There's no way you can go back down to Florida down 2-0. How did you feel out there on 3 days?
You know what? I was inside the clubhouse before the game started, and I was fighting myself, wondering how I was going to feel. And, I just started talking to Raj a little bit, and he said, listen, this is what we worked all year for. You're going to be strong as a horse out there tonight. Just go out there and throw your game. And I didn't believe him in the first inning. I was trying to make the ball move a little bit too much, but then I was able to throw some four-seamers, and I had a good fastball all night tonight.
All right, congratulations. Go and celebrate. All right, Joe, back to you guys.
Steve, thanks. Andy Pettitte getting the advice from Roger Clemens. Clemens telling him he would be strong as a horse tonight, and he was for the New York Yankees, winning Game 2, a final of 6-1. The series even at a game apiece. We'll come back with some final thoughts after these words.
Get ready to laugh out.
It's a 6-1 Yankee victory here tonight in Game 2 at Yankee Stadium. Again, Mike Woody, our cartoonist, gives us lessons from Game 2. Putting these together during the game. Godzilla grills his own Marlin appetizers. A 3-0 pitch, a 3-run home run to center. That was in the first inning. 3-0 Yankees. How do you tame a Marlin? Just pet it. Get it? 8 2/3 innings tonight from Andy Pettitte on 3 days rest. He gets the victory, third of this postseason, 13th in his career in the postseason. Let's go back down to Steve Lyons. Steve?
Hi, Joe. Thank you very much. Now we're with Hideki Matsui and his interpreter, Maggie. And Maggie, I wanted to ask him about swinging 3-0 in that first inning, the big 3-run homer to get the Yankees on the board. What was he looking for, and why did he decide to swing 3-0?
今回の2打ホームランおめでとうございます。そのことについて考えてらしたか、どのような感情を持ったか教えていただけますでしょうか。
カウントがね、3-0だったんで、でも打ってもいいというね、そういうサインが出てたので、自分の打てるボールだけ待って、まあ思いっきり打とうというふうに思ってます。
He was trying to go ahead and swing and when he can, and he did it, and 3-0 just made him happy.
Ask him if just a couple home runs out of this Yankee outfield in the entire postseason, does he think that may help these guys get going as far as their power swing is concerned, as far as the outfielders? Just 2 home runs as far as the outfield is concerned for this Yankee outfield. Maybe he can get them going there with a little inspiration there.
今回のポストシーズンの中で2本ホームランということだったんですけれども、いろんなことを考えてどうでしょうか。ホームランを打ったということと、まずは。
いや、もちろんホームラン打ったことはね、嬉しいですけど、まあね、このチームの勝利につながったんで、それはやっぱり嬉しいし、なんとかね、この後も頑張りたい。ただそれだけ。
He's happy to contribute to the Yankees, winning so far, and he's really happy about it so far.
Huge ovation for him when he hit that home run. All the people in left field standing and cheering, but nothing compared to all the people that are watching in Japan. How does he feel about that, or does he feel any pressure playing here in the World Series and not home in Japan?
いろんなスタンディングオベーションでいろんな試合があったんですけれども、日本の方も多分皆ファンの方々いらっしゃると思うんですけれども、それどうでしょうか。ここにプレーするということと日本にいなかったそこら辺のところをちょっと感じが違うと思うんですけれども、いかがでしょうか。ここでプレーできたことを多分ハッピーだと思うんですけども。
いや、もちろんね、このワールドシリーズで最高の舞台でプレーできるのはもう僕にとってすごい嬉しいし、まあその辺はね、日本のファンの皆さんも楽しみに見てくださってると思いますけど。
He's really glad to be here and playing in this field, but also I'm sure his fan enjoys it over there as well.
All the Yankee fans certainly enjoyed it here. Congratulations. All right, let's send it over to Kevin and Jeannie now.
All right, Steve, the Yankees were left fishing for answers after Game 1. I think they came up with a couple of solutions here. Andy Pettitte and, of course, Godzilla. And you mentioned in the pregame show that the lefties in the lineup were going to be a problem for the Marlins on the mound.
Because Mark Redden, the starter tonight for the Marlins, is not a power lefty. He's a changeup lefty. That's his out pitch. And left-handed changeup pitchers don't like to throw too many to left-handed hitters. Giambi back in the 3 spot, Matsui in a 5 spot, and that's really what happened. Took him out of his game, and Matsui with a big 3-run home run on a 3-0 count. And that was enough for Andy Pettitte. That was the tone setter right there. Gave him the confidence on 3 days rest, as we heard Andy earlier. Got his cutter established, the fastball struck out the side in the 3rd inning, and the rest was history. This game was over early.
And how about Hideki Matsui, just in this postseason in general? So many key hits and really laying low, doing a lot of damage with the bat, but not getting a lot of attention.
Well, how about the big key doubles that he hit in Game 3 against Pedro Martinez, and in Game 7, the big double down the right field line right here in Yankee Stadium to help put the winning runs in scoring position, or at least the tying runs at that time. Matsui's not getting enough credit, not hitting 50 home runs like he did in Japan, but hitting them when they count.
Familiar territory for the Yankees. Stop me if you've heard this before. Let's see, they're trailing 0-1 in the series. Andy Pettitte goes to the mound, and Mr. Fix-It fixed it, Joe.
He won Game 2 of the Division Series, Game 2 of the ALCS, and now Game 2 of this World Series to even the set at a game apiece. Hideki Matsui telling the Japanese media he considers himself a big game player. He hit a big home run in the first inning. A 2-out, 3-run shot on a 3-0 pitch, made it 3-0, and the Yankees behind Andy Pettitte won it a final of 6-1. Tonight's game produced by Michael Weissman, directed by Bill Webb, our associate producer Carol Langley McDermott. Steve Horn assisting us as our editorial consultant here in the booth. The associate directors, Aaron Stoik.